Immortality Season 5 Episode 21. Feng Han is at the Tiandao Pavilion in Teibai City of the Daxuan Empire, participating in a treasure auction. He had bid for the Western Taiyi, True Gold and the River and Mountain Divine Pearl, but they were snatched away by higher bids. At first, it seemed like Feng Han was just unlucky, but it was later discovered that his luck was actually off the charts. This was because the fragment of the world tree that appeared next was practically tailor-made for him. If he had spent his money earlier, it would have been quite troublesome. Now that he hasn't bought anything, he can go Ellen with everything he has to bid for the fragment of the world tree. Once he gets it, Feng Han will instantly transform into a tycoon, able to refine over 30,000 yuan pills a day and buy whatever he wants. The Tiandao Pavilion auctions a rare fragment of the world tree. The starting price is surprisingly only 100,000 Baiyang pills, naturally because no one recognizes the origin of this piece of wood. Ecstatic, Feng Han can't help but call out, 200,000, I want this nameless divine wood. 300,000, from a VIP room, a voice came, competing with Feng Han. 400,000, Feng Han shouted the number without hesitation. At the same time, he looked over and saw the other party was a middle-aged man with a dignified air, wearing a white crane feather cloak and a star crown. Seemingly sensing Feng Han's gaze, he waved his hand, and immediately, a mist rose up in the VIP room, obscuring Feng Han's view completely. Just as Feng Han was about to call out 500,000, he was surprised when another person from the opposite VIP room preemptively called out the price. The person in that VIP room was an old man stroking a 7-inch-long small arrow in his hand. His eyes were fixed on the fragment of the world tree, his brows twitching slightly, as if trying to discern the item's value. Feng Han asked Lu Mei who these two people were, handing the woman a jade bottle containing dozens of yuanying pills at the same time. When Lu Mei saw they were yuanying pills, her expression changed, but she quickly composed herself. After putting away the jade bottle, she said, "That middle-aged man is a cultivator from the Crystal Grotto Heaven, and the old man is an elder from the Sun Moon Sword Sect. Both are senior masters at the Heaven Man realm, or above." 600,000, the young man in blue bid again. 700,000, the unwavering voice of the red-clothed masked woman called out, sending a chill down Feng Han's spine. 800,000, Feng Han waved his hand, feeling extremely nervous. His funds were not abundant. Over 2 million pills might seem like a lot, but it was nothing compared to some of the great tycoons in the cultivation world. One look at the red-masked woman proved it, as she had bought the Mountain God Pearl for 2.5 million pills without batting an eye. 900,000, the man in the crane feather cloak and star crown bid again. 1 million, the bid came from yet another VIP room. It was a demonic man with purplish-black hair, wearing a wide robe and holding a white scepter. At this moment, he stood up straight, his eyes fixed intently on the fragment of the world tree. He shook his head, then nodded, and then shook his head again. Lu Mei quickly added, "This is also a rogue cultivator, but his origins are unknown." 1.1 million. Feng Han raised the bid without hesitation. Some of the cultivators below began to murmur amongst themselves, not expecting a seemingly useless item to fetch a price of 1 million spirit pills. They began to guess if it was really a fragment of an ancient Dao artifact. Otherwise, the big shots in the VIP rooms above wouldn't be fighting for it like this. 1.2 million, the demonic man with the scepter bid again, making Feng Han grit his teeth lightly. At this moment, Yan began to speak. "Feng Han, that man is a great heavenly demon king. His magical power is extremely high. I'm afraid he has already cultivated the heavenly demon golden core, or is perhaps even stronger. However, since he is not a demon god, he probably doesn't recognize the fragment of the world tree." 1.3 million. Feng Han ignored Yan's words, and continued to raise the price, seeming determined to win. 1.5 million. Almost as soon as Feng Han's voice fell, the red-clothed masked woman placed her bid, directly adding 200,000. She also appeared determined to win, which left Feng Han unable to figure out her limits. 2 million. Feng Han gritted his teeth and fiercely raised the price by 500,000. This was a do-or-die gamble, burning his bridges. As expected, his jump to 2 million immediately startled the other bidders. The elder from the Sun Moon Sword Sect gave Feng Han a surprised look and shook his head. "Giving up," The youth in blue also felt that a price of 2 million pills was too high and gave up bidding. However, the middle-aged man in the crane feather cloak and star crown from the crystal grotto heaven added another bid, 2.1 million. The man holding the scepter, suspected to be a great heavenly demon king, shook his head and didn't bid further. 2.5 million. The red-clothed masked woman's words remained calm as she called out a sky-high price. Her expression didn't change, her heart didn't skip a beat, and she seemed to know this was Fang Han's limit. 3 million. Fang Han clenched his fists, making a cracking sound. His face was contorted as he slowly spat out those words. This time, even the host, 13th Madam, was surprised because she knew that Fang Han didn't seem to have that many pills on him. Senior. Lu Mei knew that Fang Han's total assets were only 2.3 million pills. Don't panic. I still have a large amount of Yuanying pills and a few treasures on me. It's definitely no less than 3 million pills worth, Fang Han said fiercely. He did indeed have over 10,000 Yuanying pills, which would surely exchange for over 1 million Baiyang pills. So he could afford the 3 million pills. However, no one would have imagined that an unknown piece of wood could actually sell for the sky-high price of 3 million pills. Seeing Fang Han call out 3 million pills, the veil of the red-clothed masked woman from the Linglong Blessed Land seemed to twitch. She appeared to be hesitating, but in the end, she did not call out a higher price. Fang Han let out a huge sigh of relief. He knew that no one here truly recognized its value. If someone had, he would never have been able to buy this precious fragment. Trading even a Dao artifact for this fragment would have been worth it. All right, let's congratulate Fang Han. Although it was a thrilling ride, he finally got his wish and won the bid for the fragment of the world tree. After a short while, 13th Madame brought people to deliver the person-sized, nameless divine wood to the VIP room, placing it in front of Fang Han. Fang Han gave the 2.3 million gold card to 13th Madame, and also took out a full 7,000 Yuanying pills, which filled 7 or 8 large gourds. Seeing Fang Han produce so many Yuanying pills, 13th Madame and the others exchanged extremely surprised glances. Logically, not even a true disciple of the Tai sect could possibly carry so many, but Fang Han paid no mind to their stares. After receiving the nameless divine wood, he waved a burst of his energy to wrap it and brought it into the Yellow Springs diagram. Since the world tree shattered, its fragments have been tainted by the foul aura between heaven and earth and must be washed with the water of oblivion. This is also why many experts cannot refine them. Various conditions, such as the water of oblivion, green emperor wood, and imperial pure yang immortal key, are needed for the world tree to be revitalized. After Fang Han washed it with the water of oblivion, something stirred between his brows. The seedling of the world tree seemed to sense the energy of its own kind. Suddenly, countless rootlets plunged into the huge fragment. With a cracking sound, the huge fragment suddenly turned into a large mass of chaotic-colored wood energy and was absorbed by the seedling's root system, the two becoming one. In an instant, the seedling between Fang Han's brows expanded violently. Before, this seedling wouldn't grow an inch even in 10,000 years, but after absorbing the fragment of the same origin, it began to grow wildly. Fang Han immediately felt an endless torrent of immortal world spiritual energy pouring down, more than 100 times more intense than before. He quickly channeled the vast amount of immortal spiritual energy into the Yellow Springs. Yan also felt the massive influx of immortal spiritual energy rush into the Yellow Springs diagram and immediately laughed out loud. As it seemed, his injuries had healed a bit. Being immersed in so much immortal spiritual energy, he truly benefited greatly. Within the immortal spiritual energy, there are various types of Yuan Qi beneficial to the human body, such as the 9 types of pure Yang Yuan Qi, as well as some pure spirit Qi, and an abundance of supreme purity Qi, which is highly nourishing for the spirit. However, Yan doesn't have a physical body, so he can only absorb the pure Yang Yuan Qi. The other types would actually hinder his form. Only masters of the longevity realm can absorb immortal spiritual energy and then purify it further, extracting the 9 types of pure Yang Yuan Qi. So for now, he can only rely on the immortal spiritual energy to heal his injuries, but he cannot use it to cultivate and increase his own power. The endless immortal spiritual energy now filled the Yellow Springs diagram. It slowly descended, landing on the Yellow Springs River. stimulated by the water of oblivion. It was like water vapor encountering cold air. It immediately condensed into sparkling beads. These beads were the size of a thumb, and a faint shadow of a small infant could be seen inside. They were actually Yuanying pills. The Yellow Springs diagram has a powerful pill refining function. As long as there are sufficient yuan qi and medicinal ingredients, refining pills is no trouble at all, especially since Yan has recovered to the Heaven Man realm and can refine pills in batches. Just like the nearly 200,000 heavenly demons from last time, they were all refined into great azure firmament pills in less than a few breaths. So, this time, a full 1,000 Yuanying pills were generated just like that. The immortal spiritual energy continued to pour down through the world tree, constantly condensing into new pills every moment. It was practically an endless source of wealth. Give it some time, and Feng Han could become the richest man in the cultivation world. Feng Han did a quick calculation in his mind, and found it was more than 100 times more powerful than before. Apart from the spiritual energy he needed for his daily cultivation, he could now refine over 30,000 Yuanying pills a day, converted to Baiyang pills. That's over 3 million. To put it simply, he no longer had to worry about money. Whatever Feng Han wanted to buy, he could get it effortlessly. As the world tree seedling grew exponentially, the greatest benefit went to the Wood Emperor aura. When Feng Han felt the seedling growing rapidly, endless wood energy surged down, and was all channeled into the Wood Emperor aura formation hidden within his Danxian. The aura formation immediately roared violently. Strands of aura rubbed against each other, actually producing a fierce clap of thunder. This was the Yemu divine thunder. When the 5 elements auras are cultivated to the extreme, they will produce thunder. Only by cultivating an aura into a grand formation, allowing it to cycle unceasingly within the formation, and constantly refining it until it finally produces divine thunder, that is true great perfection. Noticing the changes within his body, Feng Han nodded in satisfaction. Taoist, Feng Han, 13th Madam began, as she and Lu Mei looked at him. I was wondering if you still have a large amount of Yuanying pills. If you do, my Tiando Pavilion is willing to purchase them at a high price. After taking the huge, unnamed divine wood, he had been in a daze. After about the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the two women exchanged a look, and seeing he was still dazed, they reminded him. Coming to his senses, Feng Han said, regarding the price, I'm not sure how to go about this. However, what I hope to trade for is a treasure from your Tianda Pavilion, containing the essence of the 5 elements. 13th Madam replied, in our Tiandao Pavilion, of course we have treasures with the essence of the 5 elements. The 2 items that appeared earlier were nothing special. There are better ones to come. However, there are no more good items for today. If Taoist Master Fang Lang is interested, you can wait in Teibai City. In 10 days, there will be an even bigger treasure auction. At that time, peerless treasures will appear, even Teibai Jinxing Rock, Chongshui Soft Crystal, Linghu Li's Sand, Jiyushin Shirung, and Qinglong Puyang Wood. These are the highest grade treasures of the 5 elements essence. If you have a large number of Yuanying pills, you can acquire all of them. I guarantee you will achieve the 5 elements divine abilities, and cultivating to the 6th level of the divine ability realm, the Guai realm, will be no problem. Feng Han was slightly stunned after hearing this, then asked, are there any 5 elements, spiritual roots? 5 elements, spiritual roots. 13th Madam looked at Feng Han in surprise. Taoist Master Fang Lang, you must be joking. 5 elements, spiritual roots are rare treasures of heaven and earth, no less valuable than a Tao artifact. Even if our pavilion had one, we would use it to suppress our destiny. We would not sell it. However, if you possess over 100,000 yuan pills, our pavilion is willing to purchase them at a price of 120 per pill. If you can sell 1 million Yuanying pills at once, our pavilion is willing to purchase them at double the price. When Fang Han heard purchase at double the price, he gasped. It seemed the Tiando Pavilion was in urgent need of Yuanying pills, but 1 million Yuanying pills was no small matter. Even with the world tree's current speed of absorbing immortal qi, it would still take him over a month to accumulate that many, he said. Let's talk about it then. Since there are no more good items for sale today, I'll go look around elsewhere. If I remember correctly, in this Teibai city, there seem to be 2 other major merchant guilds. The the Six Tao's Alliance and the Nine Cauldrons Pavilion. I can go check them out. Fang Han stood up, preparing to leave. The treasure auction below was indeed continuing, but there were truly no more good items. There were just some low-grade treasures, mid-grade at best, as well as some rare spiritual herbs and demon beast skeletons. For an ordinary divine ability realm master, these are good items, but for a heavenman realm master, they are quite common. Taoist Master Feng Long, please wait. Seeing Feng Han about to leave, 13th Madam quickly called out. A platinum-colored card appeared in her hand. She said, "This is our Tiandao Pavilion's premium VIP card. It comes with many discounts. If you truly have a large amount of yuan pills, selling them to us first is definitely the right choice." Fang Han said he would come again in 10 days. To be honest, he was also somewhat interested in the treasures to be auctioned then, especially the peerless treasure 13th Madame had mentioned, which would be worth at least tens of millions of pills. As for the treasures of the 5 elements essence, the Jioshan Shirang is a treasure far more precious than the mountain god pearl. I must get it this time, he thought. The world tree can produce over 30,000 yuanying pills per day, which is equivalent to over 3 million Baiyang pills. In 10 days, that's nearly 40 million. This huge fortune would allow Fang Han to shock anyone with his price. Afterwards, Feng Han casually walked out of the VIP room. 13th Madame watched his back, frowning. "Lu Mei, what do you think? Does this person look like someone who possesses a large amount of yuanyin pills?" The refinement of yuanyang pills, according to rumors, requires a large amount of immortal qi from the celestial realm, as well as certain herbs and a cauldron. Only the Taiyi sect possesses immortal qi and can refine these pills in large quantities. Apart from them, no other immortal sect can. I don't believe this person has the ability to refine yuaning pills, unless he has a longevity realm master behind him, Lu Mei replied. It's hard to say. In any case, this person's strength is definitely more than what he shows. I just used the Jotian instrument to observe briefly. This person's magic power is equivalent to the force of hundreds of thousands of galloping Zhuanhuang fierce horses. He is definitely not a Heavenman realm master. He might be a Golden Core Grandmaster, or even more powerful. As she spoke, Lu Mei took out a small sphere on which many silver threads were rotating. At the same time, Fang Han walked out of the Tiandao Pavilion's main gate, just as he was about to find a place to properly familiarize himself with his surging tree of the world. A voice suddenly came from behind. "Please wait." Feng Han quickly turned his head and saw it was the masked woman in red. She was the one from Linglong Blessed Land who had bought the mountain god pearl. The silk scarf on her face was just a thin layer. Logically, anyone with slightly superior eyesight should be able to see through it to her true face. But when Feng Han focused his vision, it still appeared hazy. He then knew it was an extraordinary treasure. Towards the people from Linglong Blessed Land, Fang Han had a favorable impression. After all, his current 28 great divine abilities were all bestowed by Fairy Firecloud of Linglong Blessed Land. Moreover, Linglong Blessed Land was the first in the immortal path to oppose the Taiyi sect, fearless of the powerful, with boundless magic, and that legendary figure, exalted immortal Linglong, all made him want to meet them. So, why was the woman from Linglong Blessed Land looking for Feng Han? Find out in the next episode.